Neighbor, you fire like a stallion tonight, man.
Well,
No,
no, man, not correct.
you are on point because you see, for the PMP who have set themselves in stone, and in so much so that their former glory have been lived through the lenses of lawyers who could, by the quint of an eye, put a position forward legally, a legal position forward, to wash a situation.
And especially if you have a media that when you control
that
the
condones
media,
it, yes,
and the narrative goes out there, then the party continues to win.
Right. So in the eyes of those who hold the politics up, which are the people, requiring a moral positioning on particular issues, the PMP have established themselves as presenting a legal positioning which forms the basis of them kind of washing them hands, as the cartoon is depicting today.
Yes.
You made mention.
Yes.
Now, when you do that in a society that has now grown and matured somewhat,
Yes.
it is sort of a spit in the people's face.
Growing.
Yes. So you're spitting in the people's faces. I'm taking this approach, but you made mention again, if the PMP haven't gotten to a point where they should realize that they need to change, because I don't think that they're really observing the political landscape from the people's perspective. And I think that is the reason why they're still holding on to this and refusing to change. Scratchy spoke about the change, and Harry, an extension of what Scratchy said before. If they refuse to change, neighbor, then they will continue to have the same results that they have been having for the past 3 elections. Now, the PMP has been in decline since 2002, and PJ Patterson, a political genius, having realized that, decided that his best chance of holding some semblance of the form he held in history, having been the prime minister previously to have won 3 elections, it was best for him to go at that point before the next election, because internally he realized that the party was declining in interest and stature among the people. The party was becoming a sort of a dinosaur in the eyes of the people. The people were fed up and frustrated with the PMP. And having realized that, he decided to go. No, I don't think there's some disturbance there. Somebody's mic, they're in a dance hall or something, you know. Anyway, so I don't think the PMP, especially with how Andrew Holness is performing, I don't think the PMP has gotten enough time to really sit down and look into themselves. I don't think they have gotten enough time to do an introspection, neighbor, because here's what the PMP is up against. And let me situate this in about 45 seconds. We're at a point in Jamaica where an opposition, because we have been without an opposition for 3 terms, almost 15 years, it's going to go to now. But here's a good thing that is coming out of this. For the first time in Jamaica's history, we have a government that listens and pays attention. So the things that the opposition should be championing on behalf of the people, what the government has done is just have gone directly to the people, listened to the plight of the people, and are addressing the issues without the opposition. So the opposition is of no moment to the people, because they are not championing the things that they should be. What is the opposition doing? Punching below the waist. And at some point, the Jamaican people, especially the women who favors Andrew Holness, are going to be frustrated with them, because every time they mention the politics, it is personal. They're punching below the belt. And because of that, then the government now has found a way to maneuver having the people providing the kind of pushback and demand on the government for the government to do right by us that the opposition should be championing. And because of that, the opposition is found wanting and lacking, and the government is having a field of a day. And I think this is going to continue, as somebody said earlier, for another 10 years.
Let me lean in with you a little bit more, protecting, since as you are on a roll. Let me get a little deeper. The problem here is a matter of trust, protecting Jamaica, and yes. Trust operates on a different plane than law. You see, the law will win you in the courtroom. It don't win you at the ballot box. No, there are some perceptions. Protecting. If you are accused of a crime, and you go to court and you get away, your community still condemn you. You know, the perception that you did it, you can't erase that. You know, even though the court may set you free, because you see, law governs actions, but trust governs interpretations. Mm-hmm. The law asks, what can be proven? Trust asks, what do I believe about you? About you, yeah. And once belief turns, it does not easily reverse. Is this not what the problem the PNP is having? That the people of Jamaica just don't trust them. It doesn't matter what they come with. They don't have the trust of the Jamaican people. Is this not what the problem is?
Neighbor, sometimes I wonder if the government, knowing this, because you're on point, sometimes is a little bit too laid back, because literally the PNP is stumbling over its own self. The PNP is having an issue looking in the mirror. The mirror of the history of independent Jamaica up until this point. And that's the reason why the gentleman who came up earlier, he was about to get really angry, because that's how they are. Because guess what? Once the reflection starts, it becomes a problem for them. And they are struggling, neighbor, as you rightfully position and situate. They are struggling with the fact that their wretched past they cannot shake. But neighbor, you know what else is true? What else is true is that because of their refusal to evolve, it is causing more problem than doing good for them. For example, it is now becoming the norm for the past maybe 2 years. The PNP publicly says there are members who does something, elicit 6. And within hours after those utterances, one of their members, our former members, is being arrested and dragged before the court.
Yes.
Their names are embroiled in some corruption, you know? So the more people see, because again, the spoken word has its place, but action is worth more than the spoken words. And so the people are seeing in real time corruption happening with you, so the people now believes that you're just trying to draw the wool, pull the wool over their eyes.
And it's worse, and it's worse because you are in opposition. Imagine you are in opposition and scandals follows you into opposition.
Yes.
Let me tell you something, man. This party is wounded.
High level. High level criminality, neighbor. But guess what? We have been we have been saying this for a while. You know, some of it you believe at certain point when you see the evidence, which I think is what is happening on a broader scale with the Jamaican people. The more they see the evidence of what is wrong with the PNP, the more we situate the truth of the ills with the PNP, is the more people are now beginning to understand, because there are a few things happening in front of their eyes. In opposition, you have over 12 scandals in opposition, and you have about 30, close to 40, while you were in government. And so as these pile on and as these adds up, the people, even their own, because I tell you, there are dark days ahead for the PMP, no matter how encouraging it look, because they want 14 seats. There are very dark days up ahead. For the PMP.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Harry, Harry, we will celebrate in a few days the splashdown of that those astronauts that went the farthest that man has gone. They have circled the moon and they are on their way back home. Harry, gravity is going to be pulling them back down. Gravity is a powerful thing, Harry. And for the PNP, it creates a kind of political gravity. Every attempt they make to rise, every attempt to reset, every attempt to rebrand, every attempt to reconnect must now push against the weight of that suspicion, the suspicion that they are a bunch of crooks. And worse, Harry, any misstep, however small, is no longer an isolated event. It is absorbed into the existing narrative. The narrative that this is who they are. It's the political gravity that they have to be pushing against, Harry. How are they going to survive and splash down coming from this? Isn't this the real danger that the party faces? The political gravity that keeps pulling them into this perception that they are not a good set.
Well, the truth about it, neighbor, I in this context, I love to look at gravity as the correction factor, right? Because for every time they try to do something, there's a correction that comes with it.
Yes.
And I have to see it that way, and it's a good thing for Jamaica, no doubt about it.
Yes.
Because what it does, it reminds us inadvertently and also unconsciously. It is something that will happen almost naturally right now. And that is good for our process. It's good for our governance. It's good for our framework that governs this country. Right? And it should be a warning as well for the opposition, one that they should take heed. Now, the beautiful thing about all of this, neighbor, is that it highlights the People's National Party reluctance to accept correction. It speaks to their adamant and arrogant nature, their entitlement that the people of Jamaica is saying to them every single time. For the last 3 elections, they've gotten that reminder. That is gravity.
Yes.
Right? That is showing them that Jamaica has moved beyond. And the thing about it, neighbor, is that unless they accept the impact
By the way, your background is a little noisy. Could you wind up your windows or something?
Let me give me 10 seconds.
Yeah, not a problem. Boy, I tell you, isn't it fascinating that we were able to put men so far out in space, get them to circle the moon, and bring them back down to the earth? Isn't that fascinating, man? Boy, I tell you, it is an amazing feat.
Are you hearing me, neighbor?
Yes, it's a little better, but I know I will have to work with it. I understand what is happening. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. So with the whole aspect of it, it is something we have to appreciate in our current system, right?
But I'll say to the opposition, take heed, right? Yield to the natural order of our system. This is not one that they can change the trajectory. It is no longer in their power. And as such, to be viable, to be relevant, because they're fighting for relevance. And the thing about it, they're getting the relevance for the wrong things. And I don't know how much more ways the people of Jamaica and what is happening, I want to say almost naturally, is pointing to them that they have to change. It's pointing to them that they need to yield to the natural order. I don't know. And you said, you know, we've gone to the moon and we've gone to other places, but I'm getting a feedback there, neighbor.
Yeah, man. Hold on. Yeah. It's a little rough. Your background is a little rough too. I don't know. We're hearing the tires. How far are you from settling down?
About 2 minutes. I actually have somebody driving beside me. One of those pickups.
Oh, hold on.
So I can't leave it.
Close your mic a little bit. Okay. All right. Let's take this. Let's take this and then we go back into Harris.
Day pioneers, all of you, and one of them happens to be a neighbor. You know who that is, right? You have a special person over there, a neighbor, and we like our neighbor.
We like our neighbor. The president of the United States said we like our neighbor. did you hear that? Listen to it again. Listen to it again. Listen.
To be a neighbor, you know who that is, right? You have a special person over there, a neighbor, and we like our neighbor.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, President Trump. We like.
Oh gosh.
Until Harry comes back, neighbor.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Until Harry comes back. Just one thing before Harry comes back in. I am concerned, neighbor.
Yes.
I'm very concerned. And the people who are listening tonight, please remember my voice saying these words. I am concerned that when the next report is released on Jamaica's Perception of Corruption Index, the numbers, we might not like them. They might stay the same. Chances are, if they're grading hard, the number might dip. But you know who is to be blamed for that, neighbor? Guess
Yes.
I said who is to be blamed for the perception of corruption in Jamaica. And when the next one for the freedom of the press comes out, it is also going to be very, very instructive, because only the PMP threaten media openly in their press conferences, or have them attorneys write media to shut down media. And I bet you, to show you how barefaced the PMP are, I bet you they're going to release statement if the numbers change downward. That, the government and how Jamaica's press freedom has fallen under the government, and they are never going to take responsibility for the part they play single-handedly in affecting Jamaica's index on the scale as it relates to the perception of corruption in the country. They will never take accountability when the last 15 years or 12 years, it is only the PMP. You hear mix up in a $1 billion of a water trucker over there, so around there, so only the PMP, but they will never take responsibility for their actions, and they are going to deflect as often as they can, as much as they can. And I bet you Jamaica will be affected by these corrupt acts of the People's National Party.
Well,
And as such, as we move, as we get better, these things are going to be pushed to the fray, and the People's National Party will always suffer from that until they accept what it is.
well, brilliant dissecting there. Protecting,
Yes, neighbor, I'm still here.
you have 5 minutes. Here's my question to you. How does the PNP reposition itself against a strengthening Jamaica Labour Party led by Hollis? Because whilst the PNP is there falling apart, the Labour Party is gaining strength. How do they recover from this?
In another 10, them have about 10-15 years to do that, neighbor. And it is going to have to be a total repositioning of the party. The constitution, the very constitution of the PNP are what they live by. So just imagine that the constitution establishes this organization that we are now questioning its credibility and its integrity. So even the constitution of the party will have to be ripped up or revised for a better approach. And it is going to take some time. They're going to have to do some things that they have been hiding away from for the past 30, 40 years. They're going to firstly have to admit to the wrongs they have done to Jamaica and Jamaicans. There are some commentators who refer to this as a truth and reconciliation period. They will have to go through this. And it starts with the very honesty that they try so hard to hide away from. It starts with honesty. They will have to admit that, yes, we have done you wrong, Jamaica, and we are sorry. The apology is second. Then after that, a lot more Jamaicans will begin to listen to them again. Because the truth is, only their base listens to them now. And that's the reason why I, for one, having found that out, refuse to have a conversation with them. Because only their base listens to them. But the people who listens to us don't listen to them because they don't form part of their base. So when we invite them to propagate, we're giving them access to a wider audience that they don't have. And so they will have to get on the road to Damascus like Paul did and find their way. And they will have to decide how they win back the hearts of the Jamaican people, because the Jamaican people currently are not with them. And it is going to take a mighty long time, because even after this transformation that they will have evidence of, the people are still going to be skeptical of this, because some people still are going to say, like myself, no man, that is the PNP. A leopard never changed its spot because of the amount of wickedness that they have done. It is going to be very hard, neighbor. And you know what else is very instructive? They will have to do it in real time. And like them have a holiday, if you take some time off to go get this done and come back. No. They will have to take on this mission in real time. And it is going to be very difficult for them to accomplish this, because they have a government that is growing in stature daily.
Yes.
By the minute, hourly, weekly. And with every project that Andrew Holness and his government bring to fruition, every door, every ribbon that is cut, every door that is open, every time a pipe turn on and send water into people's houses, they will have to contend with that while they're doing their internal rebuilding. And it is going to be very difficult. It is going to be difficult with a government in its strides. It is going to be difficult with a government that is on a bucket list mission. Notice the mission the government is on, neighbor. The government has already identified the opposition that they want to identify. The opposition that motivates the government is the people. Once people complain, the government acts. And so
yes, and when the Prime Minister made that observation, many criticized him, but
yes,
he was smart.
It's very smart. So what that is doing, it is taking away this thing from an opposition. And that's why the opposition cannot find its footing. The opposition has not managed to find its footing. Not that they didn't put up a good fight, especially last time. But because the government is showing us in real time that they are accountable to the people, and when the people speaks, the government listens, then it is going to be very difficult, neighbor. I am not seeing in the near future a viable People's National Party, because by the time this term done, the government will be ticking off its list, its bucket list. Many of the angst, many of the issues that the people has, many of the sore issues that the people have had for many years, the government will be ticking off the boxes on many of these. So already the PMP don't have crime for quarrel about politically. Already they don't have the economy for quarrel about politically. Already they don't have infrastructural development for quarrel about already. Already them already empty the magazine per Andrew House and per 28 bank book. So what else is there for the PMP to put forward to the people now? Why the people should consider them to be better than the government that is now making strides and ticking the boxes and satisfying the needs one by one on behalf of the Jamaican people. And that's where it lies for the people.
In other words, Jamaica today is in no worse a position, because although the opposition is falling apart, the government is not letting down the people.
And that is the difference. And you know what, neighbor? You see, so it's a couple of factors, you know, coming together, compounded together, that is creating problem for the PMP. Because guess what now? The PMP is in uncharted territories.
Because part of what is hurting them, you know, is the very strength of the government.
Right. So they are in uncharted waters, neighbor. They don't know how to behave in this kind of scenario, because guess what? So literally, it boils down to the government don't need them to be balling out and making up noise and protesting to answer the people. The government is answering the people by the people asking or demanding answers by themselves. And so one of the next risks that they run here, you know, is that sooner than later the people are going to say, but we don't need our opposition then, because when we ball out, the Prime Minister answers us. So we don't need an opposition. And they will become less and less influential in the political landscape.
And isn't it true that when governments are failing, oppositions shine? When governments do well, oppositions becomes irrelevant, you know.
Right. And that is what the PMP are facing now.
But then a smart opposition, because you know, protecting Jamaica is a unique place, and it is a developing economy. We have a space here for an effective opposition, you know. Not
we have a space for a sensible opposition, neighbor. All right. For example, the world is heading to the Internet of Things. We can't stop it. Okay? We have bots now carrying out the functions of humans. All the opposition needs to do with all the bright people it claims it has is continue to look down the road on the groundbreaking developments that are around the corner, continue to search out, and then push the government in that direction while sensitizing the people on the part that the people would have to play in that new kind of situation. No wasting time for talk about a man, woman, and send out your lapdog figure say them bite the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister bite them back. A foolishness them there. Talking about the Prime Minister house in the 21st century is nonsense. Talking about a man of 28 bank book because you think you're messaging to a wider scale of Jamaicans when you don't realize you're only PMP in a bank book because they now no money if you put in a bank. That is nonsensical. The world is changing. Geopolitics are becoming closer to home. They are getting closer to home. And technology is rewriting human history. Technology has rewritten human communication. It is now rewriting human existence. Talk to the people in that regard, and you might get some of those who are in the middle, who are bright people, who go university and they're involved in tech. You might get some of them on your side. But every day you're in a man brief and in a woman draws. That can't help you. And that is all politics. And they are now realizing in real time that that is not helping. And I do not believe that they are so inclined, those who are trustees of the party, I do not believe that they are so inclined to leave the party over to a Damian Crawford, who will do the very same thing that they should be doing now. Because I'm sure Damian Crawford will look 5-10 years down the road and present a vision to the young people. He will bridge that divide of what Jamaica can become. And that is going to make a big difference. But the power struggle, because the center of power and the center of influence resides in the presidency. And so you're going to have a very nail-biting fight going down to the wire of who is to lead the People's National Party, leading them into the next decade or half a decade. And neighbor, as I said to you before, we are going to see some very interesting things happening as we move forward. The People's National Party just realized that Skynet is becoming aware. And I don't know how many people would understand what I just said. And neighbor, do you remember in the 90s? Just let me remember in the 90s, listeners, neighbor, Harry, when we were watching Terminator and you hear this argument about Skynet is becoming aware. Do you remember back in the 80s when you watched the Jetsons and hear about flying cars? This is where the world is going. This is where Jamaica is going. And if the People's National Party don't wake up and realize, say, listen me, we are no longer in the age. We're beating music. Motor but no time where the
no. Let's hold on to. No, we're not hearing that at all. Let's hold on to that. Let's hold on to protecting there and go to Lavi. Lavi?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Closing words for you, Lavi. The fact of the matter is that Jamaica is advancing. Jamaica is moving forward, and we are proud of the government efforts and work that it has done. Just closed its budget presentation and is delivering on its mandate. In that regard, Lavi, Jamaica needs not be distracted by minutiae and all of these things that are happening. So while we want to hold the opposition accountable, it's a good thing to know that the government is not failing, and so the opposition's falling apart don't really affect Jamaica's democracy in its immediacy. Isn't that a good thing as you close?
I think it's a very good thing, and we are at a good place as it relates to that scenario. What is happening here is not so much that the PNP has gotten significantly worse than it's been, but it's a combination of them getting worse and the citizenry getting very smart. I think Jamaicans have become very politically savvy, and they are making choices not based on party and tribes. They are making choices based on performance. And I mean, it's sad. It's going to be sad for the PNP to hear me say this, but the Jamaica Labour Party has become the default party for the Jamaican people. And it is not default in the sense that Jamaicans have no choice but to settle. No, it's not a settle. It's a very fortunate situation where it happens that the default choice